You know what that means, right?
Dual wielding shovels? No, I don't. Enlighten me.
It means absolutely nothing.
Oh, okay. I was like, do I need to schmaltz for you for a while so you can just wrestle this joke to the ground? But no, you took it home. All right, so it looks like we're off here. Uncle thinks this is some kind of foot race. Wow, and already we're playing with power. Ooh, Dawnventure going for the 50-50 bomb rock here. I like this heads-up play.
This is actually...
It took 3 tries, but we got there. I was like, it failed so many times. I was like, is it still 50-50 in the rain state? But yes, it is.
I mean, 2 out of 50% chance isn't that insane. And guess what they say?
Oh, that is just cruel. Dawnventure's just gonna be pissed when he gets to the corpse of his uncle. Not only is he saddened by the death of a close relative, but all that time powerlifting rocks, it just got Dawnventure swole and didn't get him actual advantage.
No, not at all. I mean, I liked that play. It was creative, it was good securing that bomb drop, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the kind of thing a smart runner does. It just didn't pay off this time. It was pretty funny though, so I'm gonna give Dawnventure meme points. He can redeem those at the after playing some skee ball games. Maybe he'll have enough meme points to get like a cool T-Rex or something.
I mean, I hear that meme points are the most valuable currency in the randomizer community, so
I'm pretty sure that it's the only currency. Meanwhile, the rest of Escape here, I don't know about you, Swear, but I'm always happy to find 50 rupees. That basically guarantees you, the money to pay out the bottle vendor once you get to Kakariko.
Oh, I was gonna say, 50 rupees is the price for 10 bombs at the store.
That is a true thing you just said.
Then they followed that up with the single rupee, which I'm always happy to see. Particularly in Escape, because you get it out of the way.
You're not gonna get trolled by it later. Dawnventure picking up a nice 8 bomb drop from the prize pack there.
Wow,
that's pretty sweet.
Loaded with bombs this seed. I don't know. Maybe he will not have to send that 50 rupees on bombs.
We do have a bit of a difference of kind of strategy here. It looks like Dawnventure is going for kind of the guaranteed carry the bomb and let it explode, on you or near you to guarantee the hit. Sonicam looks like he's got a few of the bomb toss strats either practiced or at least well executed. So in addition to not having to waste time lifting rocks, wow, more bombs. Jeez.
Just what we needed.
In addition to not having to waste time lifting rocks, Sonicam I think has also just picked up a little bit of time over Dawnventure straight up on this 10 bomb escape here.
Yeah, it's really nice that you pointed that out, because we're definitely people devising strats for these different escape rooms for bombs. Pretty much as soon as this version of Logic came out.
Oh yeah, I saw some really impressive gifs of like people throwing bombs preemptively and using the bomb explosion to knock them into other bombs. It's pretty cool.
So you saw some peanut butter of people doing this?
I did. I took that moving set of pictures and I spread it over some bread and ate it with some jam, and it was delicious. And I learned strats.
Sounds like an explosive sandwich. Okay, so moving on.
Hey, well, you got a pity chuckle out of me, Swerve. What do you want?
Hey, I'll take those.
Those are legit. I don't fake the pity chuckles, sir. Meanwhile, Sonicam making his way into the throne room. I kind of like to use the time of 420 as a pretty good gauge as to how fast your escape is going. One, because it's funny and relates to the marijuanas, but also because it's a pretty good time. Like, if you can hit the shelf at 420, you've had a pretty good escape as far as not having to spend a lot of time fishing for stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you get to that bookshelf by 420, you're moving at a high speed.
You might be blazing it through the front of escape, you might even say. Does it count if I set myself up for these jokes? I feel like it should still count.
I mean, that just means you're doing twice the work.
I'm bumping it, setting it, and spiking it. I'm my own one-man volleyball pun team.
You're the one-man team. I'm just gonna go chill and chat, and I'll just leave you to it.
Dawnventure taking the time to bomb some snakes. The only reward there was 20 rupees. Sonicam once again showing off some. He has to have practiced these bomb strats because that was just a pretty smooth escape from start to finish for him.
Yeah, this is a pretty darn good time if you just have like a sword or, you know, a more standard weapon. So doing this with bombs is really nice. He's definitely been practicing, and it's just making me realize I should probably do the same.
Yeah, Dawnventure now, the rat has gotten away. This is the nightmare scenario right here for the bomb start. Yeah, it looks like Dawnventure is opting to restart the room here.
But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Dawn did waste a little bit of time farming for that bomb drop outside of Link's house, but... Oh
no. So Dawn will take a death. One of the changes they made for this bomb start is that when you die, you reset back here, and I think they give you a certain number of bombs based on how far you've progressed into the seed.
yes,
or like in the escape, so...
You respawn here with 3 bombs.
Or more if you have
Or
more.
you start with more if you have them, but if you have less than 3, it bumps you up to 3 there. But yeah, I was gonna say, even without that death, like, this is just... Sonic was just showing off, like, how much that, practicing those bomb strats can give you a nice head start over your opponent.
And Dawnventure clearly knew, like, what to do. Like, picking up that bomb and walking it over was the right play. It just the rat wasn't... like, the timing was just a little bit off, and all it takes is a little bit off for that rat to just go flying all over the room. So this is a pretty solid start for Sonicam, but, you know, all it takes is one routing decision or two to really make a difference here.
Yeah, it's still super early, so it's not a big deal yet, but every little edge does matter. And Dawn running out of bombs. I think this is the true nightmare scenario here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Meanwhile, Sonicam has picked up... we didn't talk about it because we were looking at Dawnventure, but Sonicam did pick up the hammer right outside of Cathedral. So a pretty solid start. When I find, you know, gloves and hammer, the odds of this being an Aghanim seed are pretty low, though still possible.
Yeah, we're just that Moon Pearl away from good Dark World access, so...
Well, Moon Pearl
hammer,
could still technically be on the pyramid.
It definitely could. Or you could have...
I'm listening.
Flippers on the pyramid and have those technically be locking Moon Pearl.
Or something on pyramid that leads to the Moon Pearl in the Light World.
Yeah. That thing I just said.
I just, you know,
specific example.
I took what you said and I workshopped it. I made it, you know, broader and more applicable. We're on the same team here, Swerve. We won't be on the same team next week when I absolutely destroy you in this tournament and during our match. But until then, we're on the same team. That's right.
All right.
Wow,
Man,
and a sword.
Cut the tension in this commentary booth with a knife. A sword in the well.
I'm gonna get stabbed by a knife. Wow, more bombs. This seed just keeps on giving. Alright, meanwhile, Dawnventure did manage to get that rat killed and did it with a bomb to spare. So at the very least, Dawnventure will not be punished by not being able to check the back of escape or anything. Meanwhile, half magic from the bottle vendor. I don't know about you, but I think I would pay 100 rupees for half magic every single seed if I could.
I mean, I would just opt to have half magic be somewhere for free, but it's definitely, you could have worse things.
That's true. Well played,
but
sir.
Thankfully, we knew like at least that one single rupee there was out of the pool. So, hey, look, there's a moon
wow.
pearl.
All right, so the Aghanim Dream died very early this seed.
Okay, we got Dawn heading up towards the lumberjack check. Already a few minutes behind Sonic. Again, in Randomizer, not necessarily a big deal this early on, but he's got to be a little frustrated with that start there.
Yeah, the key here is to, and this is something I need to take my own advice on, but the key here is not to let the tilt get you. And it's pretty easy to get, you have some time to kind of, the start of these seeds after escape are relatively straightforward. You go to Kakariko, you go to Lost Woods. You have plenty of time to kind of calm down a little bit while your muscle memory takes over for some of these checks. And Dawnventure has put up pretty solid results. 4-1 on this tournament. So both these runners are skilled. So while sonicam does have a few minute advantage over Dawnventure right now, anything can happen.
I mean, you told it right.
Pendant Thieves Town, Pendant Ice Palace. None of those green, and then I saw a red crystal in Turtle Rock. The other red crystal appears to be in Eastern.
I like this early rush to Hype Cave check here from sonicam.
Yeah, this is a trick I picked up from a few of the really good runners of this game. When you get hammer, gloves, moon pearl access, checking the Hype Cave early can be pretty lucrative, and it is in this case. I'd say silver arrows and bombos. That's a solid 5 out of 6 Hype Cave.
It's super solid. Not gonna do a whole lot right now, so that's kind of typically why you want to do that check right away. You might find something to help you out instead of rushing like Thieves Town area and possibly rushing in there as a crystal, because you might find boots or something else over here. But nice sign for later.
Yeah, definitely. I do like this routing too, because you check Old Stumpy, and then you work your way over to the dig game. And the dig game is kind of annoying to route in, because if you have like the Titan's Mitts, you have to go do digging game first, because you cannot do the dig game with anything following you, like say a frog or a chest.
For sure, and I've made that slip up a few times, and it can cost you.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if you're, because at that point the item's already following you, so you just have to give up on the dig game. You have to come back later, and if it turns out that item was important, then you're in trubs.
Hey, my boy Dawnvenure, buying some bombs, and just to alleviate the people freaking out in chat. Did you happen to catch Dawn's file names? At the beginning of
I
this
did
match?
not.
Oh,
Which is
okay.
ironic, because you think that I would be paying attention to the words that are like files. Wait, that's the one that got you? Come on.
I don't know why that's so dumb, dude.
You gotta raise your standards, my friend.
Well, anyway, Dawn's file name was Dawn with no T. And
yeah, fair play.
You're emphasizing the Dawnventure quite a bit. I mean, maybe you're making a play on the fact that Dawn is going on an adventure, and it's a Dawnventure.
Yeah, that's all I was referencing. But otherwise, it'd be Dawnvenure.
So Sonic, I'm getting those early South Dark World checks. I save and quit now, routing back into South Light World.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that he's opting to go this direction. I feel like this is the kind of play that you would make in a... he's rewarded with it. This is the kind of play you would make in a one-on-one seed, because I think sonicam's worried that if he puts off this kind of lucrative 7-chest area right here in the beginning of the game, if something important was tier, like for example the hook shot, if you put this off too long and go straight to the Dark World, you can really be punished for it. So I think this is a pretty smart heads-up play, the kind of play you would make in a in a one-on-one tournament seed.
Yeah, and we have Dawn farming some money here, using the bomb into the graveyard trick here.
Yeah, Houlihan room.
Get all that money. Yeah, get into the Houlihan room to get all that money for Zora. Just clinched it out of the way here. But yeah, as you were saying, in the one-on-one situation, you do tend to want to play a little bit safer. You could easily, in kind of a big group race, take that early Dark World route and just roll with it. Because it's kind of like, it's not as big of a deal, the pressure isn't as high. But definitely skipping over this kind of lucrative area early on that you can safely assume that your opponent's probably going to check early on. You could definitely be punished heavily for it.
I do find it interesting that both of the runners have opted to head over to the Ice Rod Cave. And again, another chest that some people will want to skip, but the sonicam at the least picking it up. And it's worth noting that because he did not do the Houlihan room that Dawn's did, he does not currently have the cash monies for Zora. Well,
and
I'm a huge liar. Money. I think it's important that sonicam took the time to prove me wrong within seconds of words coming out of my mouth. I can respect that devotion to making me look bad.
I think it deserves to be rewarded.
I mean, not that it's particularly hard to make me look bad, but you know what? You have to reward and respect.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna make you look bad when we race.
See, I'm gonna need the silver platter back from that one, sir.
In any case, I do like Dawn's kind of routing though in general, planning ahead with that Moon Pearl, knowing that he could do the fake flipper route here that sonicam's gonna do. So the kind of the awareness to go make sure he's gonna have money for Zora, rather than banking on just happening to find it, is generally a really good, smart, safe play.
Wait, banking that he'd be able to get the money? Was that intentional? Because if it is, I'm super impressed.
Just assume all puns and witty wordplay that come out of my mouth is 100% intentional.
Gotcha. Meanwhile, sonicam had set up the first section of fake flippers very well. It took him a little bit of time to find the pixel for the hobo fake flipper restart, but did manage to get it.
I mean, the important part is that you find it at all. You don't want to go flying off into the next screen.
Yeah, there's definitely an incorrect way to do that. And now Dawnventure is going to be a little miffed that, you know, Dawn spent all that time getting the Houlihan room rupees, and they turned out to be not super needed.
I mean, I would probably venture to say that they're not even, like, sort of needed.
Yeah, that's...
Let alone super needed.
Would you veneer to say that? All right, so we got sonicam finishing the Zora route here. Meanwhile, Dawn doing 1 pixel off for that fake flipper setup. This is harder to do than it looks if you don't do like kind of the prefab bush setup. You have exactly 1 pixel to hit that fake flipper setup. Dawn does get it though.
Yeah, and in particular, it can be really hard to move for just that single frame. Even with sword slashes or holding your sword out. So, I don't know. I think opting to just use the easy bush setup a lot of times can probably save a lot of runners' time overall, if they're not super well versed in getting it set up. Or you can do my favorite alternative strat is bombing yourself into the edge of the screen.
Yeah, that's really nice. You see that strat used sometimes when people are trying to set up like a whirlpool fake strats. I've seen that before. It works out pretty well. Meanwhile, Dawn getting that hobo pixel for the fake flipper set up on the first try. That was very nice.
That would be catching a few seconds back up there over sonicam. Unfortunately, this whole fake flipper route here isn't going to pay off very much. So I certainly wouldn't consider the 500 rupees for the 20 rupees to be a payoff.
I mean, it did pay off, just, you know, not very much. Sahashwala, meanwhile, fire rod in his garage. What kind of weird home improvement projects is that guy doing?
Well, I mean, he probably needed to weld that back wall shut, so...
But if he
Link
welded
keeps
it
coming
shut,
in here and bombing it. How did he leave it inside?
yeah, I'm. It's the
It's the
Sahasrahla
riddle.
paradox.
It's just a riddle, man. Anyway, I'm hoping to see sonicam dive right into Skull Woods now.
Ooh, Dawn did get hit in the fake flipper state, but very luckily was not in deep water, so did not soft lock. That was very nice. Dawn will have to hoof it the long way to Zora, though, to trade her 500 rupees into 20, which is, you know, not great. Not what you want to be looking for.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. Definitely
Good routing, though.
quite a bit longer to walk around the long way, particularly because you walk slower in shallow water, and when you're doing in that fake flipper, or that water walking state rather, the game just counts the deep water as grass for some reason, so you walk normal speed. And as you mentioned, if you do get hit while you're over the deep water, you fall into it, and the game tries to basically place you back where you are, and you're basically just standing on the water. But if you press any particular direction, you jump into the deep water and just respawn there. Although you can sometimes knock yourself somewhere safe with a bomb explosion.
Not always guaranteed, though, unfortunately.
No, but it is a nice tip to know if it ever happens, to give that a shot.
My strategy of going, ah, and then restarting, not as effective.
I mean, that's what I did for quite some time until I saw someone who accidentally, bonked on that rock because they had boots and were water walking. And then they did that, and it, blew my mind. And I got, 130% better at rando by knowing that trick.
Speaking of blowing my mind, Dawnventure, or I keep doing it. I'm not doing it intentionally anymore. Now it's just I can't read. Dawn taking a little bit of a sequence break here and going through Death Mountain without the lantern. Probably with the hook shot, planning to clear out all of Death Mountain. Looks like.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that play. With the hook shot and hammer, you can clear out East Death Mountain and head on up to Hera. And assuming it's not fire locked because Dawn hasn't been over to Sahasrahla and gotten that fire rod yet.
Ooh, Samaria and
clear out Hera. Yeah, Book and C-shaped house and Samaria in the first chest of Thieves Town for sonicam.
I think I saw some slashes of joy there or something. It's hard to read emotions through gameplay. Oh, the shovel inside Spectacle Rock. So Dawn basically has to go get it. That's annoying. The problem with sequence breaking is I feel like it's a pretty binary result. Like either it super pays off or you've wasted a ton of time, because there's a lot of seeds where for one reason or another the logic never has you going to Death Mountain until you're in go mode sometimes. So it is possible to spend a lot of time clearing these areas, and it turns out you didn't have to. But on the flip side, on the flip side, flippers in Thieves Town.
That was that was pretty nice word choice coincidence there.
100% planned, not coincidence.
That was a pretty stacked front side of Pendant Thieves Town there, with both that cane and the flippers.
Yeah, and sonicam is saying, that's enough for me. I'm leaving. That's a bold play.
Yeah, there's always the risk reward, just as sequence breaking.
Yep.
Risk and reward. Risk and reward of leaving half a pendant dungeon uncleared. But I don't blame him for this decision. He's got a lot of options available to him.
Oh yeah, I mean you can spend. This is the kind of decision. We talked about differences between heads up versus like a nightly big race, and the decision to leave behind pendant dungeon locations in a one-on-one tournament is definitely a harder decision to make. But sonicam has made that decision. So Dawnventure is about to hit the kind of the mother lode of chests over here in Death Mountain. We'll see if this pays off at all. Not a lot of money.
Another load of money. A little bit of love.
I guess the adjective was appropriate, sort of.
But yeah, this is
I'm taking a fall setting up that bomb jump.
a prime example of sequence breaking not paying off, at least so far. He does have a few more things to check up here.
Yeah,
As I mentioned.
the dream is still alive, and also there's Crystal Dungeon Hera that, as you mentioned, unless it's basement locked, since there's no fire source, Dawn will be able to clear that out. Meanwhile, sonicam taking his shiny fire rod and clearing out Crystal Skullwoods. Went a long way for that heart, but still managed to get all the way through the torch room before they went out.
Yeah, cutting out maybe a little close there, but
he did the ring around the rosy with the mini mold worms and the anti fairy there, and took a heart of damage to pick up a heart. I was amused by that.
I don't blame him going out of his way trying to go into this moth fight with full health.
Oh no, I just like
he does have the half
laughing at the
magic
misfortune of others.
and the fire rod, so he should be able to. Oh, and the hammer. That's nice too.
Yeah, hammer moth is pretty nice. That's 4 hits if you don't get any spike damage. Meanwhile, worth
also,
noting,
Mothula is a dumb boss. So.
Yes, agreed. Dawn did find both one item and the big key at the bottom of Hera, so Hera right now not locked for completion anyway in the basement. We'll see if there's one more item down there yet, though. All right, so crystal number 1, 26 minutes. That feels pretty good, although Dark World access was pretty quick in this seed.
Yeah, it was very quick. Having all the items by the end of Kakariko.
Well, not all the items. A lot of the items, though.
For Dark World?
Oh, for Dark World access, yes. Sorry, Sorab, I don't really listen when you talk. I just hear like a buzzing noise.
Oh, me too.
Oh yeah, that's got to be rough.
Words just come out, and I just try to gauge what I said by
the reaction.
By people's responses.
Oh, that's fair. I like it. You got a system, and it's working. I respect that. You know what I don't respect?
It's held together by duct tape, but
the other time I won't respect it is next week when you and I are battling head to head for our tournament lives.
Yeah, it is being billed as not only the match of the entire century.
Wow, the whole century.
I did it backwards. Well, that joke's done. Tom taking a fall from Moldworm.
You know what you
Sonic
tried.
and finding the mirror. And hey, man, there's important things going on this match. So, Sonic and finding the mirror in Vanilla Big Key in Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's a pretty big find. That does reward Sonicam's running. Oh, Dawn. Oh, that sucks. I already took one fall to Moldworm, and the middle hole fall is extra costly because you do drop 2 floors down. That sucks.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring up the possibility of kind of the sequence breaking itself possibly being a reaction to a bad start, because we did talk about a little bit about tilt getting to you early on.
Yeah, very true.
So sometimes that can cause a player to maybe play a little bit differently because they're already feeling behind early on.
Yeah,
so maybe taking a little bit of risk.
It's definitely a fine line to walk because it's easy to go from one bad play to another, but sometimes the only way you can come back is if you make a little bit of a low percentage play. So it's a kind of a tough line to walk. You still have to make smart plays even when you think you're behind.
Because Dawn started with the fake flippers sequence break. That Sonic also did, but then Dawn opting to head up to Death Mountain here. Not getting anything really of value out of it other than this crystal, unless that shovel goes somewhere.
Well, I guess we'll probably see the spiral cave on the way out here, and that'll be about it.
And then, meanwhile, Sonic Am kind of following the logic, taking a little more, expected typical plays, and it's paying off a ton so far. Being up to that Fire Rod behind Saucerella, the book from C-Shaped House, that Cane and Flippers from Thieves Town, and then the mirror in Skull Woods.
Yeah, very true. Also, Dawn proving me wrong, and actually I like this play, because it's possible that like Spike Cave could be more in logic, or at least or Dawn might have more items that would make this in play. Since you have half magic and cape. By the time you get access to Death Mountain, either with the lantern or the flute, Spike Cave, you just might have more item dependencies to make it a better play. Doesn't pay off in this case with just 10 arrows, but I do like Spike Cave over Spiral Cave at this point. Although Spiral Cave is a lot harder to get back to if you decide you have to go back to it. So. All right, so sonicam has quite a few options on his plate here. It looks like he's opting to finish this Dark World's South loop now that he has the mirror. Do you think maybe he's going into desert and is just checking this place on the way?
Desert's not bad, but I like Swamp Palace a little bit more.
You like Swamp Palace?
Hey man, Swamp Palace gets a lot more hate than it deserves.
That's probably
having
fair.
Flippers, Mirror, Hammer Hookshot already. I mean, I would check this Bombos tablet over here real quick, even if you can't get the item, just for that knowledge. But then hopping into Swamp Palace when it's a crystal and has all these items seems pretty. I don't know. Seems like a pretty reasonable play to me.
I do like the play, and I think since Sonic did not check Bombos now, I have a feeling he'll probably route it in after Swamp, so we might see a full clear Swamp, and then if he doesn't get anything in here, Desert on the way over after Bombos might be on the plate.
Yeah, that works. Probably even maybe a little bit better than what I said. Maybe.
Listen, I'm not here to judge. That's not true. I'm literally doing nothing but judging all day. And I judge this Swamp Palace play to be aight. That's a technical term.
I8 out of I10.
I8 out of 10. That sounds like that could be the cover of that could be the name of our album, Swerve.
Hey, no one's supposed to know about that yet. We agreed.
But the mixtapes were still fire. Alright, so sonicam is on a Swamp Palace journey here. What do you think the odds are of a full clear versus just a back of Swamp Palace play?
I don't know, man.
I feel like if you're going to do Swamp Palace this quote-unquote early, and I think sonicam is just kind of following the logic at this point. As you mentioned, he followed the logic with Fire Rod over to Skull Woods, although Mira was not Fire Rod locked. And was rewarded, so he'll either do the back and then come back in if he doesn't get something, or just full clear the whole thing. This is what I think is going to happen here.
Yeah,
Ooh, time to see if Shovel's going to pay off.
I'm personally not a huge fan of the skipping. Ooh. Hey, there's the third medallion.
Now, if Quake ends up being relevant, and it might, the best odds it could be, because we have two crystals that require medallions. Sonicam has fully cleared that kind of Dark World South loop, so he's going to have a real hard time routing back to the dig spot location. So this could be the one ace in the hole that Dawn has going into the end of the seed here.
That's true. He's Sonicam until, I guess he finds Titan's Bits. It would be the only real reason for him to even go back to that area of the overworld at all.
And given how many items... Yeah, and given how many items he already has, Titan's Mitts could be, either go mode or near go mode, depending on, where Bow and Ice Rod are. And it looks like
that could be interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like this. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of skipping the left side, especially when you get that map in the first chest there.
Yeah, that's a really
already guarantee that there's gonna be something over here.
I'd say the worst possible Swamp Palace outcome is doing the left side of Swamp Palace and then finding that you just spent like a minute and a half to be rewarded with a map and a compass. So the reason why Swerve pointed that out is because if you've already found either the map or the compass, you're guaranteed to get at least one like actual item from the left side of Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where the whole line of reasoning that kind of led to people starting to explore the idea of skipping the left side, at least either completely or initially, because of that huge waste of time when you go over there and it's just like, oh, great.
That takes for nothing.
Waste of time.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder of a decision to make when two of the chests that you check at the beginning of Swamp end up being not map or compass. Then you're like, oh god, do I do the left side of Swamp early when it's the fastest and risk, the rare but crappy map compass left side of Swamp?
Hey, a blue potion.
That
not
could be
too shabby, and it unlocks an item location.
Yeah, it could be progression bottle. Probably not, but it could be. Alright, so Dawn is going through Skull Woods without the fire rod, which is really unfortunate. Now, assuming Dawn goes all the way, Dawn will at least pick up the mirror, which will really, really help with routing efficiency. But we've got a guaranteed double dip into Skull Woods for Dawn, unfortunately, which is going to cost quite a bit of time.
Yeah, really unfortunate. It can be, I don't know, especially when you get the super early like Dark World access, it can be kind of easy to put those Sahasrara items on the back burner and not check them for a while.
Yeah, I see a lot of runners now, kind of like what sonicam did where he had Dark World access, but did save and quit and go back and do, kind of the mire area, Swamp and Generous Sky Cave. I see a lot of people including the Sahasrara hut in those checks just because of, there's 3 items that are pretty quick to get, and, you really don't want to get burned by putting them off for too long.
Hey, and there's a Master Sword for sonicam, so this is also why leaving the Bombus check for afterwards is pretty nice. Because now, on the off chance that it was also something that he wanted, he won't have to come back. Because he'll just be able to get the items straight away.
So I guess it was a better plan than the one you threw out. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm giving bad advice on commentary just to throw you off of our match next week.
Oh my god, the next level plays by Swerve. This is incredible. I have been writing down everything you said, and now I don't know what to believe.
But I am playing like 8th dimensional backgammon over here, so...
That's way cooler sounding than like 4-dimensional chess. Ooh, a sonicam going for the double puff grab into spin kill. Pretty effective when you do it, but if you miss a lot of them, you start to lose time over kind of standard strats.
Yeah, I like this a lot. If you can do it, which I'm not very good at. sonicam is killing it, both figuratively and literally. Because it is very easy to accidentally poke that puffball, lose your spin charge, and then you flail around looking like an idiot. Which is like the last thing I want to do when I'm being restreamed.
Or just in general, really.
Nah, as long as like there's only like 5 people watching, it's fine.
That sounds like a usual stream night for me.
Yeah, and it's when there's a couple hundred people, like, oh man, that guy looks like an idiot. That's when I started having an issue. That was a really nice Argus fight. That was quick. Excellent use of the double grab spin slashes there, and almost got the one cycle with the fire rod and Master Sword, but not quite.
Does get maximum punished for where the big key location was, unfortunately. So it would be foolish to full clear the left side of Swamp and then skip the big key chest when you know there's an item in it. So going back in sucks, but you pretty much have to do it.
Yeah, at this point, like, you've gone too far. I could understand, like, if you were just, like, really gonna just gamble it all away and you didn't check left side either, and you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, like,
but at this point,
sometimes you just have to commit to your decisions, and going back in for this chest is a classic example of that.
And
not rewarded.
Hey, 5 extra bomb capacity. Mr. Big Bomb Bags over here. Okay. It's a reward.
It was an item in a chest. That you are 100% correct about that. It was a thing that you obtained by opening a box with gold trim on it.
Yeah, it's a pretty reward. Meanwhile, we have Dawn over in the Village of Outcasts here, clearing out the houses, picking up the book. Let's see if he opts to go into Thieves Town. Because we do know the cane and flippers are there.
Yeah, this could be a pretty big point of divergence if Dawn decides to go into Thieves Town at all is definitely still on the table. And if Dawn does go into Thieves Town, exactly how far in Dawn decides to go is also super relevant. Because if Dawn decides to stick around and go all the way through Thieves Town and find something back there, it could be pretty huge.
It could be, yeah. If there's something back there, it could be very advantageous. If there's nothing back there, it would be very disadvantageous.
Oh, man.
Expert commentary.
Alright, so Dawn is... We're getting close to the decision point here. Dawn's got a couple more chests to check. The real downside to full clearing a dungeon like the back of Thieves Town is you're going to spend a lot of time looking for 1 to 2 items.
Did you say
that sucks?
Did you say downside?
The downside?
The downside of checking the back?
I was having an adventure with the naming conventions. Ooh, Dawn is continuing. Nope, just made me a liar. These damn runners. I make a statement based on their actions, and then they turn around.
They're giving you just enough time. They're baiting you into looking like a fool.
Well, you don't even have to put anything on the hook for that. Oh, okay. So we've got boots required desert here, but it is just a pendant.
But it isn't the green pendant.
Man, boots lock green pendant desert leading to some kind of required item would be pretty gross.
I would love it. So yeah, we just see Dawn. What?
I'm loving it. Okay, never mind. It's not funny when I have to explain. It's where.
No, it's not that to explain. I just legitimately didn't hear you.
It was probably for the best.
But yeah, good joke. So Dawn is heading down through the south.
It was so
the mirror in hand. So this will be a little bit more efficient of a clear. He'll also be able to head right into Swamp Palace here.
Yeah, this routing actually ended up working out pretty good for Dawn. I picked up a little bit more time, just kind of on overworld walking. Did a little bit less doubling back than Sonic did. But it looks like Sonic's making the lampless Death Mountain play. So this is actually pretty huge for Dawn. Dawn's going to pick up a lot of time here because Sonic is going to be spending time doing the exact same useless things that Sonic did. Or the other way around.
It'll be curious to see if one Ether has anything, because sonicam will be able to check that when Dawn didn't have the book at the time. And whether he does the long, slow walk through Spiral Cave.
Yeah, it's hard to route in both Spiral Cave and Spike Cave in the same walk. Oh, and sonicam gets Dead Rock. I hate those squirrels.
They're by far the worst enemy in the game.
There ain't no party like a Dead Rock party because a Dead Rock party actually does stop, and that's why nobody likes it. You get it, Sorb? Because they stop moving. That's why they.
I don't.
That's why no one likes them.
Could you explain?
Look, I'm trying so hard here.
I don't understand that reference. So, yeah, there is also the possibility, since we were talking about skipping left side swamp, Dawn could do that here.
Yeah, we know that would be a time save, but Dawn does not know that.
Hey, we don't know that yet. We don't know that bottle could be the bow, man.
That's true. It very well could
it
be.
Could also just be some like arrows, so who knows? It's a mystery. It's rando.
It could be another bottle. It's bottles all the way down. Oh wow, Sonic getting the fairy in the bush right before Burn a Spike Cave.
And then the other possibility though that could end up working out in Dawn's favor is he opts to end up going to the east side of the map after maybe checking Bombos instead of hopping down into the desert. With that mirror, to be able to check Celestial, get the Fire Rod, and then either check out, Pyramid or Catfish, or maybe dip into Pod or Eastern.
Yeah, those are all possibilities. There's a lot on the plate for both of these runners. I find it pretty interesting that they both are now doing what the other runner has already done. It does show you that both these runners identify, higher percentage or, plays that they want to make, and end up making very similar deductions.
Yeah, just maybe, swapped around a little bit.
just a bit.
Yeah, just the same, but just a little different.
Well, here's a question for you, Swerve. I was too busy picking up stupid jokes. I know we saw one item in Hera. Was there anything locked in Hera basement? Because that will be another advantage that sonicam will have, because he has a fire source. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. You might not have seen it either.
An excellent question. And if you give me like 5 minutes or so, I will let you know.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you to that 5 minutes.
I want to say that there is something in the basement, but chat is immediately going to tell me that I'm wrong.
See,
Moldorm did have a heart piece. That's right.
All right, that was like a 1 minute setup for chat to prove you wrong. So thanks, chat. Chat's got my back. Taking down Swerve. Good work. Meanwhile, we've got.
I need other people's help to beat me.
I won't need other people's help to beat you next week. This has turned into like a WWE like pre-match SmackDown talk. I like it. I'm
glad you went with the WWE parallel.
I'm coming next week for you, brother.
I was thinking of it in that exact kind of mindset when I signed up for this commentary.
I'm gonna steal the mic from the stoic guy in the tux and just start talking like PG trash talk. It's gonna be great. All right, so speaking of things that are great, sonicam getting $20 from heaven. It's not a progression item, but at least he won't have that in the back of his head while he's got Death Mountain running.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Dawn, as of right now, knows that's up there and it's open to him. I mean, it's not technically in the logic still, so it might not be a huge issue yet. Still haven't found that lamp or that flute. But he does know that it's kind of just off in that corner of the world that he left behind.
Speaking of things left behind, Dawnventure. Oh nope, He is going back in to check the left side swamp. So he'll actually lose a little bit of time against sonicam, because sonicam also full cleared swamp, but did it in a slightly more time efficient manner. I can't say I blame Dawn though. If he had gotten some interesting items out of the back of swamp, that might have made him feel like he could have skipped swamp left side. Dawn also knows that there's 2 items over there too, because of having already found map and compass, so that might be influencing Dawn's decision to come back in and check these other 2 chests.
I mean, coupled with the big chest here is 3 items, so it's gonna be hard pressed to skip by all of those.
Yeah, that's true. 2 is already pretty justifiable to come back in, much less 3 items. Because I don't know if you knew this, Swerve, but let me get on my chart here. Let's see here, go to page 75. Okay, so it turns out 3 is more than 2. So, that's critical knowledge. I'm going to write that down on my list of things I was keeping track of that you said.
Okay, so 2 is less than 3.
2 less than 3. All right. I am so ready for our match next week. I've got knowledge like math. It's going to be great. Speaking of great, sonicam about to face off against Moldworm. Unfortunately, Dawn had a little bit rough Moldworm fight, so if sonicam does not take any falls here, which is looking like that might be the case, he could gain some time over Dawn.
That was a very nice Moldworm fight from sonicam there.
Yeah.
You did have that small advantage of being able to use spin slashes instead of the hammer.
And that's actually pretty significant. We kind of saw a little bit of it there, but Moldworm's got a really funky hitbox, especially with spin slashes. So being able to take advantage of that does make the fight just a little bit safer. Yeah,
you can nick that tail of his from quite far away with the spin slashes. And when you don't have boots and stuff, it's definitely a nice, feels a lot safer kind of approach to him than trying to hammer that tail.
Ooh, we are going to get to see Spiral Cave here. Man, Resident Sleeper Cave, because there's no boots. What would a Resident Eeper Cave be? Like, just a really tired thing that makes an eep noise? I don't really know.
Yeah.
just 3 under the bus again. All right, so sonicam went through Resident Eeper Cave and was rewarded with garbage. So that sucks. Alright, so sonicam has some interesting options ahead of him here, and I think this mid-game play that he makes here could end up being really important because there's quite a few options that he has on the table. And none of them are particularly amazing, to be honest with you. Huh.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, this is starting to get a little bit trickier on. There's not really a lot of obvious good plays anymore.
Do you think he's maybe going back to? He's not going back to oh, he's turning in the bottle. Yep. Yo. Dude, we'll have to see. You could be right. All right, I don't want Swerve to be right, so I need this to not be something.
Hey!
Yes! Sick Kid's on my side. You're going down next week, Swerve.
How was the kid on your side? I said it could be something, or it could be nothing.
Well, did you see how
I chose both options, so I was always right.
Wow, you are playing 7th dimensional backgammon or whatever that was. I think I stole a dimension from you. I think you said 8th dimension.
I did say 8. I want all my dimensions.
I will not rob you of a dimension. This is a non-Euclidean stream right here. All right, so we got sonicam. Math jokes, anyone? All right. So sonicam, I think, might be heading toward Pyramid and perhaps the Pod Eastern Palace combo.
Yeah.
Now, going over there without the bow kind of sucks, but again, we mentioned sonicam does not have a lot of particularly good options left on the plate here.
Dawn's right on his heels.
Yeah, this is actually super interesting. And it's worth noting that Dawnventure is going to pick up, assuming that Dawn goes from here to Eastern Palace pod area, Dawn will pick up that fire rod. So I think that's really the only major item difference between the two of them, minus the shovel that led to Quake that Dawn has and Sonic does not.
Yeah, which until we find the Titan's Mitts, we're not even sure is going to be relevant.
Yeah, I mean, that single medallion could end up being the most important thing in this game, or it could be complete garbage.
Yep. That's just Rando in a nutshell, though. This could be really important. But
yeah, that was some high-level commentary for me right there. That was some John Madden level. Well, see, the difference between these two players is one of them has more items and is further ahead. Thanks, John.
Gosh darn it.
Well, in this,
the self roast, man. That's not fair. Leave it. Let me do it.
No, see, I'm trying to show you that even I could beat myself at this game better than you can because I'm preparing for next week. Get wrecked.
Oh, damn. savage.
Yeah, the only one that's going to be next week is me when I go into Pendant Ice Palace for no reason.
Hey man, I'm going to do the same. I know your every move, and I'm going to copy it.
Alright, so Dawn did just pick up his Fire Rod, so that's... I think that's really the last major item difference between the two of them, except for that Quake that we pointed out. If Bo ends up being in this dungeon, it will end up not being much of a difference since these two runners are very close to each other and picking it up, and it won't affect their routing too much.
Yeah.
What would have to be in here for it to be crazy? Like, Flute, maybe?
We're actually kind of caught up here for the most part. sonicam is missing that Quake, as you mentioned, and Dawn is gonna have to double back to Skullwoods at some point to.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
But thankfully, at least that's one of the quickest ones to go back and grab.
True. Although without Skullwoods is one of those dungeons that is definitely much faster to clear with boots. But obviously not worth. You would lose a lot more time having to go back and do it twice than you would have just walking through it the first time. But so sonicam doing the full front clear version of Eastern here, which makes me feel like the way these keys are laid out, the game's being real friendly to keys at the fronts. It might mean that something like the bow could be in the back based on the way the keys are, but there's no guarantee of that yet. I'm trying to artificially create hype right now. Is it working, Swerve? Are you at the edge of your seat?
No, you're trying to create real hype. Artificial hype is when you're just like, hey, Twitch chat, can we get some hype, please?
Yeah, I need you all to type out hype for no reason right now, other than that I enjoy being in power.
Can we get some pog champs in Twitch chat for this small key in this small chest?
No. I need pog cheaps is what I need, or whatever it was I said incorrectly earlier.
Oh, can we get some Resident Eepers?
Resident Eepers, thank you. Bored? I can't even remember my own failures. That's why I never improve at this game, Swerve.
Hey.
Meanwhile, sonicam using the Fire Rod to light the torch down there does save a little bit of time versus kind of feeling it out with the sword. I don't think we've seen the big key yet. Have we seen it? I don't think we have.
I don't think so. So it could be over here in the dark maze, or it could be on that bow-locked right side. But
I'm seeing a lot of eats in chat. I love you guys.
Out of sequence here without that lamp.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where there's a few spots that Lantern could be. I mean, we've still got the bottom of Thieves Town that both of these runners skipped. sonicam getting a little bit lost in the pod maze, opts to restart the room. Not a bad idea. This maze isn't particularly hard, but it can be confusing if you lose your bearing.
Yeah, for sure. You can get sniped by one of these stray fireballs, and that can throw you off a little bit.
Was that another progression bottle there, Swerve? Progression bottle?
I mean,
you think that bottle's gonna lead to a
I'm not saying it was the best thing you could get, but a full heart container. Look, sonicam's got the clear advantage in the heart department.
sonicam got something, and he's not sure what it is, and I'm honestly not either. It was not gloves, or bow, or flute, and those are kind of the key things we're looking for here. Wasn't boots, wasn't ice rod. So we've got ourselves a no bow in pod, but there's a little bit left to check in Eastern here.
Yeah, we got to be fast approaching something useful here.
Yeah, both of these runners have kind of stalled in equally bad places in this mid-game. And it's not through bad player routing, I don't think. They both made some pretty interesting choices that made sense. Oh, there's the mid.
There they are.
sonicam with the slashes of rage. Yikes.
Yeah, that can be a kind of a worrying find. Since even without the bow... an early dip into Eastern Palace isn't a, super risky play. You'll see players do that fairly often.
Yeah, first sphere Titan's Mitts is rough because sonicam is like the first thing that has to be going through his mind is, son of a, like I have to be behind right now. And really, these runners are actually quite close. Each one of them has a little bit of a unique advantage over the other, and we don't know how it's going to pan out quite yet.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, he just picked those up just under an hour in. Dawn right behind, picking up 10 minutes at an hour in, and either player could be having that little brief panic attack of, oh,
the absolute madman. I love this play.
Doubling.
No. What?
Is he afraid of the port? I don't know. What? Well.
See, you'll notice that I very clearly did not make a prediction about what was going to happen because the last time this happened, I looked like a moron. So, I mean, that hasn't changed much. But
the Titans bits have been available for basically the entirety of this seed.
I wonder if Dawn is going to do kind of the Dark World self loop with the mirror and kind of do the frog and do all that stuff.
I would like that a lot. I think that's a great call. I think Dawn should head into Skull Woods here. You know, knock out that crystal.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, Dawn can group all this
down
together
and do that loop.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I really like this play.
And I do like the bold move to leave, finding that Mitts, kind of probably just going like, oh, this is what I'm missing at this point. Because both of our players were getting kind of exhausted out of options, and a lot of it was starting to be locked behind these Titans Mitts locations.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit earlier about smart gambles, and this was a pretty smart gamble for Dawn's point. I mean, it was still a gamble, but Dawn knew that he was a little bit behind. So I think a smart gamble of, you already went through pod, the kind of the chest heavier portion, and you get gloves in the very first chest in Eastern. You could spend a lot of time clearing chests that are probably not relevant. But they might be, but they're probably not. And grouping the rest of this Skull Woods into the Dark World South Loop is just really smart routing. I really like it.
Yeah, finding those Mitts opened up a ton of options for either of our players here. So, as you mentioned, Dawn possibly feeling, or very likely feeling a little bit behind since the beginning of the seed. Like, basically 3 minutes behind at the start of Escape. Or at the end of Escape, rather. And that kind of carried through.
sonicam going into Ice Rodless Total Rock for Crystal number 4.
It could just be opening this portal. And
there's the Quake! Oh, we got ourselves a seed, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Well, this just got a whole lot more interesting.
Wow, so in case you came in halfway, it turns out that Quake was in the shovel dig spot. And I believe the shovel wasn't it somewhere in Death Mountain? Help me out here,
Spectacle Rock.
Inside of Spectacle Rock. Oh wow, in the Ice Rod.
Oh man, he's gonna be wanting that Quake right now.
Oh man, so now if Dawn ends up going up here for the same reasons that Sonic did, Dawn is gonna be able to route all this in very tightly. Now Dawn definitely has some time to make up over Sonic right now, just from kind of a rough early game and some routing inconsistencies, but Dawn's in a real position to make up a ton of time over Sonic right now, all because of one shovel.
Yeah, for sure. sonicam still has to go grab that shovel and then know that's where he needs to go.
He's gonna have a hard time routing that in, though. If he doesn't pick it up now and doesn't do it with the Mitts part of the self loop, he's gonna be in trouble, I think. Oh, is this a pedestal check?
Hey, rupees.
The dream is dead. Well, unless your dream is of money, and whose dreams aren't really. All right, I'm really curious to see. I think that this play goes from great to amazing if it turns out like an item like the flute is in the mid-slot portion of the Dark World South Loop.
Yeah, if the blacksmith, the purple chest, or that hammer peg cave yield something valuable like the flute, that's absolutely going to be huge for Dawn.
Yeah, the last item that we're really looking for is bow and technically lantern and maybe boots. And flute. This is why you don't do math live on stream, Sorp.
I mean, I was told there would be no math, and I refused to do any on stream.
I already made like a Euclidean geometry joke earlier, and you gave me a chuckle.
I appreciated it. I felt like it was too smart of a joke for this commentary. To be quite frank.
You looked that up in a book, didn't you, Files? Alright, so Dawnventure, nerd. Calling somebody a nerd while they're doing commentary for a randomized Super Nintendo game is a bold venture. Did you like how I had that callback?
That was a very good callback.
I'm working hard.
We've gotten a lot of mileage out of the venture wordplay today.
Alright, so we're about to see if this frog play is going to bear any fruit. It's really smart routing, but the thing with Randomizer is sometimes you aren't rewarded by smart routing. In general you are, but in specific seeds you may or may not be. And of course we've got Resident Eeper hammer game without the boots. Lame.
I like this. I like bootless hammer pegs.
Really? Do you also like burnt toast? And other bad things?
I prefer well done toast, is what I call it.
That's I can respect that. You probably put ketchup on it too, you monster.
Well, you have to cover up the burned flavor with something.
It's like the white trash delight, burnt toast with ketchup. It's the American dream.
Oh!
Did I not call it? Oh man, I'm gonna crush the item calling in this seed like I'm gonna crush you next week in our tournament match. It's happening.
I'm gonna dumb luck my way to victory.
I would respect it, but hate you forever. Even more so than now. I just want you to. So
that's a price I'm willing to pay.
I don't blame you at all. So Dawnventure picking up the flute here. Now this is a really solid play, but because sonicam is just a minute behind Dawn, the amount of time difference that Dawn's going to get from this routing is not quite as big, but still noticeable.
Yeah, it's like the really convenient time to grab that flute because sonicam doing a smart thing here and grabbing this purple chest, and we'll be able to just flute that down right after activating the bird. It will be interesting to see if this kind of throws him off from that shovel check, though.
Now, I think Dawn's got an interesting choice here because with flute and mitts, the temptation to go to like Meyer is kind of strong. But a play up into East Death Mountain is going to bear a lot of fruit because Ice Rod is up there and Dawn will have to spend less time looking for it the sooner he goes up there. Dawn, I apologize in advance. I think I referred to you as a she like 3 times this seed or more, so I apologize. But
How dare you?
I think where Dawn goes now is going to be really important. Oh, going to Death Mountain.
Yeah,
this is pretty huge.
This is really good for Dawn. He'll be able to head up, get that Ice Rod and that Tempered Sword you mentioned, and then if that Quake in hand, pop right into Turtle Rock as a crystal. It's going to be very enticing, so very good chance that you can find something useful here.
Yeah, the advantage that sonicam has is dwindling. Now, Sonic has already been to East Death Mountain, so already knows that the Ice Rod is over there. Already knows that Turtle Rock is Quake. But Sonic is missing the key component there is Quake, and he just has to decide to go digging for it at some point in this seed.
Yep, so sonicam bypassing that shovel spot because he just picked up that flute. Which could be an interesting happenstance, but we're just gonna... I don't know, let's see what... I didn't see what it was. What was that? Did you see what Maher was?
I did not.
All right,
I'm sure we'll see it again shortly here. Our
on
tracker marked it down as Quake also.
Yeah, it's also
Quake.
Quake.
To our tracker reg there.
The double Quake. So... Oh man, I was honestly hoping for it to be a different medallion and then have Sonic dip in the mire, because that would be.
This is actually good for Sonic though, because that's one less place he'll have to go looking for Quake, assuming that's his go mode item.
Oh, this is probably, definitely, almost possibly in Sonic M's favor, because he won't be diving right into the mire.
I need like 3 more qualifiers on that statement before I can accept it. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
I said with confidence.
You did. There was no ambiguity in that statement. You knew what you meant and you went for it. Oh my god, is Sonic heading over? This is huge.
Well, I was going to say, since he doesn't have that option to go in the mire, it makes a lot of sense to double back for the shovel.
Wow, okay, this is keeping sonicam in the game, because if he were to spend the next 5-10 minutes checking random one-off locations, like Catfish or something, yeah, he's swiping his sword. He knows he found that late. I think with late Mitts and late Quake, sonicam has got to be feeling pretty bad.
Alright, and he's opting to go to mire.
So at this point, Swerve, I gotta ask, where do you think Bo is? Do you think it's in Turtle Rock because that always seems to happen to you, or do you think it's maybe in like Ice Palace or something?
Wow. I was gonna say it's either in Pendant Thieves Town, Pendant Ice Palace, Crystal Mire, or Crystal Turtle Rock, or possibly some other location that we have yet to see.
Wow. So what you're saying is bold predictions. You're really putting your neck out there with the calls. I like it.
Hey man, I'm the one that goes to Vegas and I play roulette, and I put $1 on everything.
You put $1 on red and black. So what would the bad roll be here on pedestal? We've already checked that. Ooh, sonicam missing the 2-cycle Wizrobe there in mid-mire. That's unfortunate. Alright, so I think it's going to be really interesting. I have a feeling that if you're Dawn, there's almost zero reason not to do Turtle Rock while you're here. Turtle Rock is a dungeon that is not particularly faster or slower in go mode or not. You know, maybe a minute or so faster or slower. So doing it right now while you're here and while you're still looking for Bo seems like a pretty solid choice for me.
Hey, there's a shiny gold sword on sonicam's side.
Hey, you can butter your burnt toast with the butter sword.
Hey man, can you think of anything better to put on burnt toast than butter and ketchup? Breakfast of champions.
Gross.
Well, you get your wheat, you got your dairy, you got your vegetables. It's really like the perfect meal.
Yeah, I mean I can't argue with any of the things you just said. They're all true.
They're just fact. It's science. So sonicam is doing a thing here.
This is pretty smart routing. He's got the big key, and just in case one of the items is on Vitreous, he'll save himself some time. But it does mean, he's more likely to have to do this dark room. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. He already found one item. It was gold sword, and then big key in the next room. He gets it. Might as well take this opportunity to go for this quick mire. Because he does have the knowledge that Turtle Rock is an option. I mean, obviously with all 3 medallions, but also he's been there and checked it and knows that it was Quake.
Oh,
and there's the lamp.
Lantern was in Turtle Rock, so Dawn will be able to pick up a little bit of time on Sonic and Mire. I mean, Sonic is executing these dark rooms well, but in terms of speed, it's always better to have vision, right? I mean, why have a difficult execution if you don't have to? So it'll be interesting to see, maybe like chat's pointing out, maybe he's betting on that God Mire. Maybe he's hoping that the second item is on Vitreous. If it's not, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to go back in.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think honestly at this point, with kind of the way the Mire played out for sonicam, I would probably just fail and go to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I can respect that. To be clear, I can respect that, not you specifically. Because I'm going to kill you next week in our tournament.
Well, I just want you to know that it's going to be sad for a lot of people. and that
because
you should feel very bad.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean to actually murder you like that. You know, I'm not that hardcore.
Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna have to go.
Oh, you
alert some Twitch admins.
You were ready to go like buy a tux and a casket and everything. Yeah, no, I'm not that hardcore, man.
You're just gonna beat me so bad that I'm just gonna drop dead.
I mean, I don't know if I'm capable of that kind of output. I'm gonna be real with you. If I make it to the bracket stage, because I mean, you know, regardless of what happens next week, neither one of us is, you know, to enter, but only one leaves towards the bracket stage. But speaking of not us, sonicam is going back into Meyer, so there is one item left in Meyer, and he's not willing to skip it. So this could either pay off or cost him about a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's I mean, either way, it's a tough decision to make. And it could be, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what is in here.
Yeah, I mean, sonicam could feel like, you know, I can't just keep gambling my socks off here. You know, I need to keep making these plays. Yeah, Sonic did correctly remember that he did not flick the crystal switch, so he cannot get access to that key next to the big key chest, so does opt to take the fall, go back to the front of the room. Meanwhile, Dawn is making his way through Turtle Rock. Pretty good clip here. The juicy high treasure chest portion of Turtle Rock is at the back, so... Mimic Cave got nothing but a piece of heart.
Oh my god.
What? Wow. So that is a huge, huge play for Sonic. He has to be breathing a sigh of relief to find the bow. Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna be feeling really good about that one. So...
Here's the question, Swerve. Aside from potentially boots for Ganon's tower, I assume that you would just go mode at this point, right?
Oh, are you doing research? Is this going in your notes? Your extensive file on my play habits? Yeah, you absolutely go mode here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. But I just wanted to see what you thought because I'm writing this down on the notebook.
It's like, okay, well, I'm writing notes on you writing notes.
Your notepad just says one thing, and it says files equals dumb face. And you know what? I can respect that.
And it's not actually. I didn't draw a dumb face. I wrote DUM.
you just literally wrote like DUM FACE. That would actually be even better. But because sonicam did kind of make the correct play to go down to Meyer instead of Turtle Rock. It turns out his accidental finding of Quake later actually ended up being more of a benefit than a loss, because that will be one less time he has to climb Death Mountain compared to Dawnventure. And he'll also be able to go mode Turtle Rock. Not that it matters much, because one of the keys is on the laser bridge here.
Yeah, so Rando's gonna rando.
Yeah, I mean, the game does place items randomly. Dawn opting for the safety save here. Interesting. Must not be too confident in his Trinex fight. Maybe he has plenty of hearts.
Yeah, I don't know if it wasn't for that tempered sword pickup outside of Turtle Rock. Like, I hate the Master Sword Trinex fight, so I could understand that. But I feel like this should be a fairly safe fight. But better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a death there is super time costly. You know, you have to go through the dark Samaria block maze one more time, so it's hard to tell what's going through a runner's mind, especially in a high-pressure tournament scenario. You know, both these runners are basically competing for a berth into the bracket stage, so...
True, but thankfully they can rest easy that even if they do lose this one, they will have the opportunity to win in their next and final match to make it to that bracket stage.
Very true. All right, pretty acceptable Trinex fight from Dawn there. He's setting up for the quick kill here. Oh, just a little bit too close to his head, but still, that's a pretty solid Trinex fight there. Sonicam showing off fire rod strats in the turtle room. Doing this room completely blind with no fire rod and no lantern is really rough. You end up taking a lot of damage in there.
Yeah, I would say, in my professional opinion, it sucks. But the fire rod alleviates a lot of it.
That's a really professional, well-stated opinion. I like it. Alright, so Dawn has got his mirror out. I wonder if he's checking Spiral Cave? Yep, that appears to be the case. Good job remembering that place was unlocked.
I might as well clear this area out of items, but there's also, I don't know if you went over and checked Ether as well. Not that there's anything important there, but obviously Dawn is still hunting everywhere for that bow.
Yeah, Resident Eeper Cave never really pays off.
Except that one time it does.
That's true, and that'll be the one time that I skip it. Because rando. Alright, so I think for Dawn to really keep this race close, he basically needs to go to Meyer like right now. And honestly, that's a pretty solid move. Yep, and that appears to be the case. So Dawn needs to not skip the last chest in Meyer. He can make up a little bit of time over sonicam in Meyer right now if he opts to clear for the chest before he goes down to fight Vitreous. That'll save him an extra walk in and out of the dungeon.
Yeah, and saving every little second that he can is going to be important in having any chance at winning this race.
Sonic goes a little bit too low on the stealth post room in Eastern Palace there to spawn the third guy.
Sonic will be getting his 6th crystal here, and then it's a quick trip up to Turtle Rock. A slow walk through that dungeon without boots.
Yeah. Of course, a seed like this would have to give you no boots.
Yeah. It's the it's the rando special.
Both of these runners having problems with the starting Wizrobe room in Meyer. This is one of those rooms that NMG runners like to practice a lot because the one-cycle version of that room is very interesting, but without boots, it's basically impossible to pull off.
Yeah, that's a room in NMG that's a lot of fun to one-cycle. Like, just the execution of it feels really good. But without boots, I mean, I don't really know what to do. You just flail around. So I don't really blame the two runners for both having trouble.
Alright, so Sonic setting up with Silver's Armos does shoot the first Silver a little too early, but even a suboptimal Silver's Armos fight is still pretty quick.
Absolutely, and it looks like Dawn has the same mindset Sonic had. And again, can't really blame him, but it's just a little unfortunate with our knowledge, knowing that the bow is over on the west side of Meyer here. Yeah,
this was a little. I mean, it makes sense for all the reasons it made sense for Sonic. It's just not going to pay off in this case. So, Sonic's got all of Turtle Rock to clear. The Dawn has already done, but Dawn has still got 3 crystal dungeons that he needs to finish off in a pretty quick succession here.
Yeah,
and Dawn will have to climb Death Mountain a 3rd time too, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah, thankfully the pod and Eastern double clear in go mode is going to be fairly quick, as sonicam showed off, but I definitely see him being a couple minutes behind by the time they get to Ganon's Tower.
I mean, but even that's overcomable. I mean, that's the difference of Ganon's Tower big key routing. I mean, you know, this is still anyone's game. And even though Dawn does have 2 more crystal dungeons to complete, they are much faster to complete than Turtle Rock, even go mode Turtle Rock.
Absolutely. But that says you exactly why, as you mentioned earlier, that we would have liked to see Dawn picking up the bow before coming to Vitreous instead of doubling back.
I do find it amusing that the late Quake find actually ended up being more of a benefit to Sonic, just the way that the items were placed in this seed. Just goes to show you that Rando can hurt you, but maybe it's also helping you, but really it's hurting you. So figure that one out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how just those sort of things, just that difference of finding a seemingly innocuous Quake early on can affect your routing much later in the seed.
And if it had turned out that you know, Meyer was also not Quake, I mean, this could have been a different game too. That might have given Dawn more incentive to go into Meyer and check earlier. Like, it's just kind of hard to tell. You never know.
I totally agree. If things had been a little bit different, they probably would have been pretty different.
Oh, well played. Wow. Woo. Man, are we in a classroom? Because I just got schooled. Yikes.
Yikes, dude.
Oh man, if that's the kind of A game you're bringing next week, I'm gonna need to write down a lot more stuff on this notepad.
Yeah, what is that notepad got on it so far?
This notepad, I erased everything and I just wrote swerve equals butt.
Oh darn.
And I'm not following your technique. I actually drew out a butt. I didn't write the word butt.
So yeah, unfortunately, Dawn not doubling back for that remaining item in Meyer.
Oh no!
Which we know is the bow.
Did he miscount the number of chests, or is it just that might just be a gamble?
It's got to be a gamble, I imagine. So only open that first chest, got the gold sword. Open the second chest, got that big key, and then Vitreous dropped some garbage. So you know that there's something else in here.
I mean,
but I think
it's easy to say that it was a gamble, but I mean, when you're in a high pressure tournament scenario, especially in a tournament where in a match where you feel like you might be behind, it's easy to kind of get shaky and lose track of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then there's this also there's a factor here is that Dawn didn't check out Desert or anything, so there was that checkerboard check Desert out here.
It is possible that Dawn did the math and deemed that the potential for 2 items in Desert were a faster check in terms of chests per minute than going back into Meyer would have been. So maybe that was the call. It's hard to tell. What Dawn does right now is super important, because if he does anything besides go back into Meyer, he's in trouble.
It looks like he's gonna go back in.
Yeah, that must have been the calculation there. I think I can check more chests by going into Desert than I can going back into Meyer.
Yeah, the start to Meyer here is just it's a little bit slow, especially compared to, you know, walking over to Checkerboard Cave real quick, checking that, and then heading into Desert.
Boy, speaking of calculations, very interesting to point out that sonicam is checking Mimic Cave and Turtle Rock. I wonder if he's thinking about boots and whether or not they're required for Ganon's Tower. Yikes, and this Wizard room just proving to be trouble for both of these runners the entire seed.
Yeah, it's an interesting check to make. Didn't check that big key chest, the vanilla big key chest in the center of that pipe room.
No, yeah, you're right. Although we know that it pretty much has to be a key, because the last key that we saw was on Laser Bridge, or maybe it wasn't. Because now sonicam has 2 keys, and I don't know what to believe.
No, it wasn't a key, because Yeah, as you said, the last key is on Laser Bridge for this dungeon.
Yep. So yeah, there was something there.
Um,
there is something in that chest. More
there
John Mack
is
comments for me here
some
tonight,
kind
folks.
of item in that chest, and it's not a small key. Given our fantastic attention to detail and our vivid memories,
oh yes,
narrowed it down to not a small key.
Maybe instead of writing butts down to your, or drawing butts down next to your name on this notepad, I should be actually keeping track of, you know, legitimate things.
But we also know that it's not boots and that it's garbage.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I'd say I'd definitely give the advantage to sonicam right now. But you know, all it's going to take is weird Ganon's Tower routing, or perhaps a key lock Ganon's Tower big key, and this race could get crazy interesting.
But yeah, perhaps. Yeah, just looking for boots. Maybe that little bit of extra safety. Maybe he put it together that Turtle Rock Mire, like, split there. Like, either, I don't know. Maybe put it together that Dawn, there's a good chance Dawn went to Turtle Rock first, and so full cleared it, and they maybe just wanted a little bit of safety on the chance that maybe boots were in there.
We didn't see any rage slashes from Dawn there with the Bowfine, so props to Dawn for just holding it together there. Because I would have raged.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Dawn would want some meme points, because I think rage slashes are the current biggest meme in rando races.
Yeah, they're the currency with which all meme points are earned. That is correct. And speaking of earning things, this is a speed gaming channel. So we are very close to entering Ganon's Tower. You know what that means for me?
I believe it's time to start the big key guessing game.
That is correct. So get your guesses in. For those of you who have subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming family of channels, or have donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, have a chance to be entered in the leaderboard. There are many places in which there could be a big key in Ganon's Tower, and if you guess correctly, you can get meme points. So I guess the other currency to get meme points is guessing the big key chest correctly and rage slashes. So that sounds about right to me.
I mean, it's definitely the fastest way to accrue meme points. So files.
Where do you think the big key is? I gotta know. I gotta pick your brain. I'm trying to learn your big key routing so I can absolutely crush you next week when you and I race.
I mean, I think it's gonna be in one of 22 available locations in Ganon's Tower. And that where it is random, and that I have no way of even making an educated guess, other than it being a chest or a room with more chests in it.
Well, by definition, any guess you make is uneducated. Bam, roasted.
Oh, dang it!
Get ready.
I didn't even see it coming.
You walked right into that one, son.
You're good. I call you quick draw files.
So that's chest 1 and 2. So if you guessed 1 and 2, you're already as wrong as Swerve. And chest number 3 also wrong.
But I guess my hope would be that it's going to be tile room, in that by some crazy desperation play, Dawn rushes tile room.
I mean, that's always the dream, right? It's so hard to make that play, though, when you're behind. Like, if you're behind and you haven't seen your opponent done, and it's like, oh god, do I do tile room and throw away any lead I might have? Like, it's just such a tough call to make. Also, chess 4 through 7, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, there's been so many times where I've wanted so badly to make that call, and it's just, I can't do it. As you said, it's just like, even if you feel like you're behind, it's like, do you feel that you're that far behind? Like, it takes a desperate.
Yeah. I mean, it's always objectively the worst, like, statistically, like accurate play to make in Ganon's Tower, but sometimes you have to make a low percentage play and hope your opponents didn't, you know? It's always a tough call to make. Alright, we're coming up on chest 9 here. I saw a couple of 9s in chat, so You guys that said 9 in chat, you're also wrong. All right, so we're coming up on the room I always like to guess, because the randomizer room, it's the room named after the randomizer. It also contains 4 chests, so I get to secretly guess 4 things at the same time. Oh, there it is. There's the big key.
All right.
So was that 10?
Yes, 10. Yeah, that was 10. It was the first one in the rando room.
In sonicam, you know, there's really no reason to check other chests. You know, maybe the boots would be nice to get. Maybe red tunic, but odds of getting those are pretty small, and sonicam deems it not worthy of checking.
Yeah, and certainly probably not going to be worth the time, even if you find them.
All right, so well played to Mass Connect, who correctly guessed chest number 10. So good work. You you earn meme point currency.
Well played to you, Files, for guessing the rando room, which has 4 chests in it. After sonicam had already cleared about half of Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, you see how I did that? I guessed 4 chests while also waiting until like 9 of them have been checked. I thought that was masterful.
That is just some high-level strategy.
Those are the kind of bold, near cheating plays you can expect from me next week. Not actually cheating, but near cheating. I felt the need to clarify that.
Acceptable.
All right, so sonicam has got bootless Gauntlet. Now, a lot of players get pretty good muscle memory for Gauntlet, but doing it without boots does require a bit of a strategy adjustment.
Hey, shoutouts to Stone Swan in chat, pointing out that I did guess 1 through 22, so I was also right.
Yeah, you did guess. You did give me the wishy-washy, it will be in a chest somewhere guess, so I guess you technically weren't wrong. You were just wrong in my heart.
I can live with that. Especially going into next week. So we can be friends right now, or frenemies, but no, actually no. Until next week, we're just absolute enemies.
I like how you tried to create a space in your mind where that was possible and just immediately rejected it. Nope, it's Bloodsport from now on. I can respect that.
Yeah, so I actually had totally forgotten that Dawn had bailed out on an Eastern after finding Titan's Mitts. Which ended up being a good play, but I was like thoroughly confused on why he was heading right in that first choice there.
Oh, yeah, it did end up saving him a little bit of time. Like, he didn't have to check the vanilla big key chest location, but he's got a lot of time to make up, unfortunately. That the extra Death Mountain climb alone is just really going to be punishing for Dawn.
Yeah, he is going to be heading into the Armos fight, and he will be getting his crystal, and he'll start heading up to Ganon's Tower.
Whenever the big key is in randomizer room, I think that's actually one of the potentially biggest kind of diversion places that the key can be. Because if anybody does any alternate strategies like full Dark Magician route or full right side route, the randomizer room will be the last place you check outside of Tower room with those alternate routes. So whenever the big key is in randomizer room, there's a little bit of potential for people that just do alternate routes to get just kind of shown up, unfortunately.
sonicam.
Was that like the new Waffle House drive-through? Like, is he just like, I'm gonna pick up this magic pod, but I'm just gonna swipe at it a couple times like I'm a cat before I knock it off the shelf?
Toying with the idea of picking it up, and then realizing, it's more beneficial to have a bit more magic against Ganon than not very much.
And sonicam not pleasing the crowd and skipping the meme chest. That's a bold play.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be coming in to the end of the seed with a low amount of meme points, and you don't want to see that.
No, that's always rough to see. Although he did give us more rage slashes than Dawn did, so I don't really, I deem them both pretty equal in meme points.
That's a very valid point.
And if you're not playing for meme points, then why are you playing Swerve? Why are you playing at all?
I have no idea.
Oh wait, to win the tournament. Yeah, that's why.
I mean, I'm playing solely to beat you. That's the only thing that fuels me at this point in time. Nothing else matters.
The seething black hatred for files. You know, I can respect that.
Whatever. Man, everybody's got that thing that drives them. No, you happen to be my drive, buddy.
I'm glad I could be your muse, Swerp.
Oh, I don't like that choice of word, but okay.
I mean, you clearly spent a lot of time thinking about me. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. You see how I turned that around on you there?
So we got sonicam heading into the Ganon fight. It's a little bit over the 140 mark, so we should be squeezing in under that sub 145, putting up a pretty solid time.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent Aghanim fight. He had some really good setups, but blue balls, unfortunately, as they tend to do, ruined a lot of things.
Yeah, he is sitting at 3 hearts, but he seems to be pretty confident in his Ganon fight here, because I believe he should still have a blue potion in his inventory.
Does have cape too, electing to swag out the sweet fire bat dodges though. Oh jeez.
Threading the needle between these fire bats here.
Wow. This is bold heartbeat strats right here from sonicam.
He's just an absolute professional.
Meanwhile, we see Dawn doing right side first, but since there's no small keys, basically we'll be heading to the left side. Oh, almost got the triple.
Yeah, that was kind of the nice thing about this Ganon Tower layout is, unless you opted to head to the Stealthos room first, there was no going right side. So it kind of funneled you towards the random room where the big key was.
Very, very true. All right, well, bust out your GGs in chat because that is a first place finish for sonicam. Does finish out with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, 47 seconds. So sonicam does clinch a 5-win record, so he basically guarantees himself admittance into the bracket phase of this tournament.
Yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty darn good about that win there. Yeah, I'm curious to wonder where his head was at, because there was, again, that point an hour into the seed where both of our players, just about the same time, came upon that Titan's Mitts pickup in the first chest of Eastern Palace.
Yeah, and Sonic had just found Quake, I think not too soon before that.
Yeah, which can always kind of lead to a little bit of panic there, knowing that you've been missing a key item that was available since the beginning. But I'm sure he's breathing a sigh of relief, and unfortunate way the things played out for Dawn, but he does have one more shot to get one more win and make his way into brackets as well.
Alright, so meanwhile, Dawn taking pretty much the kind of the standard meta route through G Tower, and as you mentioned, Swerve, the key layout did kind of funnel both the runners into what ended up being the correct path here. We'll see if we can or cannot get sonicam in here for an interview. All right, looks like he's given us the affirmative, so we'll see if we can't get him in here to give us his thoughts on this scene.
I see him. He's sitting down there in that waiting room, knocking on the door.
Are you going to answer it? Maybe he's doing the internet equivalent of ding dong ditching us.
When I'm ready, you take your time to answer the door. You know, it's important to let your guests know that they're not very important.
All right, we are joined here by the winner of this race, sonicam. Sonicam, congratulations, GG.
Thank you.
It's gotta feel good to kind of clinch your entrance into the bracket stages of this tournament.
Yeah, I did not think this was gonna happen. I thought I was just gonna be RIP. But 5-1 is not bad.
What was going through your mind when you went into Bolus Eastern Palace and found Titan's Mitts available from the very beginning of the game?
I was pissed.
We saw you earned some mean points from me from the rage slashes. That was good.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
quality.
that was not good. I mean, I don't know if it was good, but I mean, I really wasn't expecting that. Sphere Zero Titans, especially with the hammer, like in Sanctuary, I really wasn't expecting that. I thought the Titans Mist was at least going to be in a Dark World lock somewhere, but it wasn't. It was interesting.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense, given how much access you had to the rest of the world and Dark World in general. So the Mits being there was a bit of a surprise, but funnily enough, you actually found those like just like a minute before Dawn did.
Wow. When
Yeah,
I saw
you guys lined up quite a bit actually in this seed.
Oh, okay.
I'd say the biggest point of contention is Dawn actually went to Dark Death Mountain early on a sequence break, found the shovel. So Dawn actually had possession of Quake pretty early. So the first time Dawn, or the second time Dawn went to Death Mountain, Dawn was able to go into Turtle Rock, whereas you unfortunately had to leave. That ended up working out in your favor pretty well though, because that Mire Clear ended up giving you the bow.
Right, yeah. I was really happy to see that. I really had a feeling that Lamp was just going to be in Ice Palace. I was hoping it was going to be there, but it wasn't. But I think it still worked out. You know, being able to do Turtle Rock and then going to Gannis Tower is always a good feeling.
Were you at any time considering skipping like the one chest in Mire on a gamble? Or was that never in your mind?
Never in my mind. There was no way I was going to do that. But I was just hoping that, you know, Victorious was going to have it. But it didn't. But there was no way I was going to skip that one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like File said, I think that was kind of the main point, probably the biggest factor overall. But there was a bunch of other little things that I think added up throughout the seed as well, that kind of put things in your favor. I did want to ask why were you kind of looking for boots on the off chance that they would be required for Ganon's Tower?
That's exactly what I really did not want to lose because of something stupid and having the big key on the torch. So I'm like, you know, well, let me just go ahead and check these couple of things. Like if it's here, and you know, I'll probably have a good advantage because the other person probably would have skipped it. You know, because that would have been like, you know, official go mode. But you know, yeah, that was the only thing. Like I really didn't want to like leave something deep in Turtle Rock and then I have to leave, you know, Ganon's Tower after checking everything in Ganon's Tower, and then the boots aren't there and I need the boots. And then I was gonna scurry around. I just didn't want to chance it.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of play, you know, you have to approach a one-on-one tournament seed differently than you would like a nightly or something like that. So that's pretty heads-up play. Even though it ended up not mattering, it could have.
Yeah, true.
All right, so you do move on into the 5-1 brackets. I believe you're still playing, even though you're guaranteed entrance into the bracket stages. I believe you are playing for positioning as far as placement in the brackets. So you still got some work cut out for you in a couple of weeks when the next round of matches are continue.
Yep, it's just gonna keep getting more and more difficult, but you know, it is what it is. Just a game, and you know, just here to try to have fun.
Because if you're not having fun, at least you're playing for meme points.
I think the meme was having, you know, Canis Moria and Flippers in Thieves Town, Pendant Thieves Town. I couldn't believe it was there.
Yeah, both you and Dawn opted to check the front and not check the back, and we were worried for you, but it ended up paying off pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a lucrative front check there.
Absolutely.
And then it allowed you to hop right into Swamp Palace, which really didn't turn out much. I guess you got a Master Sword out of it.
Yeah, that was the only thing. And then I found the book in, where was it, Village of Outcasts? So I'm like, all right, maybe I'm thinking, and I had the mirror, so I was thinking, okay, maybe it's tablets. And nope, wasn't the tablets.
Yeah, that was a very nice Sega 2 fight from Dawn there.
Yeah, Dawn just in general had a pretty solid Ganon's Tower there. Looks like going with did prepare with a potion, so we'll be able to take advantage of Cape strats. Sonic, you had some pretty nice bat dodges toward the end of your phase 2 going into phase 3. but it did get a little scary there.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was gonna die, because I had blue mail 3 hearts. I wasn't sure. I think the actual fire, when the swirling thing, I think that only does 2 hearts. But if you touch it bad, I think it's 3. But I wasn't sure.
It looks like it just did 3 damage to Dawn.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
also has blue mail.
Just did 3 to Dawn as you were.
So playing with fire, literally.
Yeah, I kind of like, the way I was feeling after I checked like the rest of Turtle Rock and had nothing. I kind of was like, all right, let me just try to rush before it's like really gonna be down to a couple of seconds. So I really didn't want to pull out the potion, but I guess it's a good thing I didn't need it.
Yeah, I mean, after you get to a certain point in these races, you kind of know what your limits are and what you're capable of doing with or without safeties. So, knowing your limits and where you can save time is definitely a valuable skill, I think, in this tournament.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so Dawn puts his 4th silver arrow into a pig. So with that explosion and that fanfare and that sword raised, that is a finished race for Dawn. So get your GGs out in the chat. Dawn finishing up with an official speed racing time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Yep, just about 9 minutes behind the opponent, Sonic here. All things considered, not that big of a difference. Especially factoring in Dawn losing about 3 minutes in that escape sequence right off the bat.
Yeah. All right, well, it looks like Dawn is game for an interview. So looks like we are joined by Dawn. So GG, Dawn.
Yeah, GG.
GG's.
Hey, GG, man.
So I gotta ask you, Dawn, how was what was going through your mind when those rats were just running away from you at the very beginning of this seed in Escape?
Well, like, I thought I knew which one it was, and then I lost it, and then I died, and then I went back, lost it again. Like, I thought I had it on the first bomb, and then it's like, nope, that wasn't it. Died again. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm really behind, and I had to make some weird gambles now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't until like 9 minutes, 10 minutes until I actually got out of the sewer there.
Yeah, it's definitely.
That's like the first time that I actually messed up in the sewer. Anytime I had the bombs.
Yeah, when those rats get away from you, they can be absolutely brutal, and that was evidence, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially if the bombs start hunting down the correct route once it gets kind of out of the left side, there, it can be a little rough.
I have to say though, you made up some time kind of in the early mid game with your routing choices. I'd say the big key difference here is who found Quake and when. With that gross shovel, there were 2 shovels in the seed hash, so you had to know the shovel was going to be trouble.
I didn't think the Quake was trouble at all. I had it the whole time, but maybe he didn't find it right away.
Yeah, I definitely did it. I was pretty mad when I saw Mario was Quake as well, and I didn't have it yet. And
that actually ended up working out in your favor, Sonic.
Oh, I guess that's kind of true.
Yeah, it was. You guys put on a really good show.
I remember when I saw it the first time, and I think I forgot to get it. And the good thing I remember my second trip, I got it. Thank goodness, I got it. But it could have been a crazy thing, because if I didn't have the shovel, I would have went into Ice Palace looking for Quake.
The double Quake for the two dungeons there, kind of played out in your favor in an odd way, since you never had the option for doing Turtle Rock after the East or the Dark World Death Mountain clear, because you hadn't gone to that shovel spot yet. Whereas Dawn was up there, and it made perfect sense to hop in there. And so, kind of as a result of that, you kind of went over and ended up in the mire area, and so that might have made a little bit more sense to go into there before Turtle Rock, and you got that bow first.
Right, yeah.
As a pretty classic example of how small little differences can have a really significant ripple effect throughout the end of a seed. Like, you guys are both making really, really smart decisions, real tight routing and clustering of checks. You put on a really good show. You guys definitely gave us quite the performance.
I didn't feel my mid game was actually that strong. Like I had so many like weird items that had never actually opened up anything, so I was always scared because like I sequence braked up to like Death Mountain, I sequence broke the fake flippers, and then just like nothing ever progressed from them. So it's like, all right, well I had to start hopping into dungeons and finding items now, and I just pieced out whenever I found progression.
Yeah, both of you ended up leaving Pendant Thieves Town after finding the treasure trove that was at the front of that dungeon. Were any of you worried that there might be more progression or the bow further in Thieves Town, or not really?
Near the end, I guess. Like, I was thinking, okay, I'm so behind from that like early game, the very start of the game, that like there's a chance that he finished it and he had the bow or whatever, so I just had to make the gamble that it wasn't there and just piece out of there.
Yeah, I didn't think it had anything after, especially if I have to find the Titan's Mitts, in Eastern Palace. I kind of like put it out of my mind because it opened up a lot. And then I found the flute. Of course, it was on the Smiths, and that was locked out for a while when it could have been. I could have had it within like 15 minutes. But yeah, other than that, it was. I felt it was pretty decent. The running around. I think that the Titans Mitts was really the biggest thing that kind of messed me up, especially since it was Sphere Zero. I really thought that he found it early, and then it was like a mad rush after that.
Yeah, the other thing that was on my mind was like if there was more progression inside of Eastern Palace, because I dipped out of it just right after getting the Titan's Mitts as well.
Oh wow! Okay, was there? I don't think there was anything in there.
No. Nothing important. There was like a heart piece or something, and then another item on Armos that was not important. So Don you said you you felt like coming out of Escape, you felt a little behind. You had to make some gambles. Is that kind of why you decided to go with the fake flippering and the sequence breaking up to Death Mountain, or was that just kind of like a usual routing for you? Because this is definitely one of the seeds that did not reward sequence breaking whatsoever.
Starting off with the gloves, I knew Zora was on the table, which is why I did the Houlihan room. But then there was nothing there, so I felt even further behind. Because we also got the Moon Pearl in Kakariko. Then I felt I might as well just go to the item-dense locations before I feel comfortable enough to go in the Dark World. And then once I saw Thieves Town was pendant, I'm like, alright, well, good thing I didn't go there right away. With like 4 hearts.
Yeah, that's always scary. Alright, so looks like we're going to wrap this up, guys. Once again, GG to both of you, and congratulations to sonicam for clinching a bracket playoff, so to speak, spot. But the dream is still alive for you, Dawn. If you make another solid victory in the next round, you could very easily see yourself into the bracket stage.
Well, that's something to look forward to 2 weeks from now.
More rando. So speaking of more rando, if you aren't already following the Speed Gaming family of channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, please do so. Lots of good content here. Link to the past randomizer. Obviously, the tournament's still going on, but there's lots of other great content on the family of channels as well. On this very channel, I believe at 10 o'clock Eastern time, we have Jake Helps for Life facing off against Violet Pumpkin. So you can catch that match in about a half an hour from now. But otherwise, make sure you stay tuned and check out all the cool action here on the Speed Gaming family of channels. Thanks again to our runners, Dawnventure and sonicam. You guys put on a great show.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for commentating.
Thank you for commentating.
Yeah, it was our pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. You guys put on a heck of a show.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and best of luck to both of you in the next round.
So we'll be wrapping it up here. My name is Files, and I was joined by my good friend and future nemesis next week when we face off in the tournament, Swerb.
Yep, and depending on how that race goes, we'll see if we remain friends or nemesis. NSI.
We'll have to stick with frenemies.
Frenemies. But yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. So yeah, thank you for doing this with me. And have a good night, everybody.
Sounds good. We'll see you next mission.